Eraserhead's AO3, or A Guide on How Not to Seduce Your Best Friend, written by nomumomo, read by Yours Prinks. Chapter 8, Life Imitates Art. Summary, in which Shouta makes some moves. This series is marked mature, however, this chapter has no suggestive content. Enjoy! Shouta and Nomuri planned it all out that night over text. There was a lot of back and forth. Some of her ideas were a bit much, to say the least. But by the time Hizashi's show came on, and Shouta cuddled up on the couch with Mochi to listen, just like he did every Friday night, the plan was in place. Hizashi and Shouta always slept in on Saturday mornings. That morning, Shouta made sure to get up first. He brushed his teeth and pulled his hair into a low ponytail before getting himself situated on the couch. He considered shaving, but figured that might be unusual enough to arouse suspicion. There was no question that this would be the biggest show of Eraser's career. Shouta stretched out and tried to look casual. The concert hall was sold out. Every name in the business would be there. He untied his hair, reconsidered, and then tied it back again. But only one person in that audience mattered tonight. Eventually, Hizashi emerged from his room. "Morning, show," he called out, voice still froggy from sleep. He shuffled to the kitchen for his coffee. And that person deserved the best performance he could give. Shouta texted Nomuri, then waited. Beyonce's voice filled their apartment before Hizashi answered. "Hey babe, what's up?" Oh no, don't worry. Shit happens." Hizashi walked into the living room, still on the phone. "Can I bring you anything?" "Okay, well, just get better. Bye." He sighed, dumped himself into an armchair, and frowned into his coffee. Eraser paced backstage. He reminded himself that he was prepared for this. Shouta kept his voice as even as he could manage. "What's up with her?" "It's nothing. Your face says otherwise." "Well, it's just a thing. I'm fine, really." He knew this piece, backwards and forwards. Shouta raised a brow. "Okay." Hizashi sighed again. "Okay, so, remember that gala I told you about? Probably not, but anyway, Nomuri was gonna be my date, but now she's got food poisoning and the gala's tomorrow. I was really looking forward to it, but now, it's not the same alone." Shouta waited a few seconds to reply. Eraser adjusted his already perfect tie. It was time, he knew. He couldn't wait any longer. He cleared his throat and looked up at his best friend, the love of his goddamn life. He could do this. He picked up his violin and strode out into the bright spotlight. "I could be your date." Hizashi made a noise like he was choking on a parrot. "I must look pretty sad to get that kind of offer from you, Sho." "I mean it. I've gone to things like this alone before." Shouta sat up and put down his phone. "I want to go." "Who are you, and what are you doing with my best friend?" "It's important to you, and I'm not doing anything else that day." "Okay." Hizashi took off his glasses and cleaned them on his t-shirt. "Except that you hate stuff like this, and you won't be able to get formal clothes on such short notice." Shouta ignored his first point. "I have a tux." "I've seen the inside of your closet. Trash bags are more tailored than most of your clothes." "It's in storage." Hizashi put his glasses back on and squinted at Shouta. "You know you'll have to let me do something with your hair." "I like it when you do my hair." Hizashi still looked skeptical. "There will be paparazzi." "And why should I mind having my picture taken with you?" Skeptical and blushing was, Shouta found, a charming look on Hizashi. After a moment, the blonde huffed. "Honestly, Sho." He searched Shota's face. "You don't have to come with me." Shouta felt the old insecurities rising. What if Nomuri was wrong? What if he really doesn't want to go with me? What if I was imagining? The train shook as it barreled across the bridge. With Mike's help, Eraser heaved the boxcar door open. A ravine yawned deep and hungry beneath them. Eraser's voice was just audible over the howling winds. "Do you trust me?" "What?" He turned and held out his hand to Mike. Do you trust me? Of course. Then let me do this for you. Moments passed. Their eyes locked. Hazashi unknowingly bit his lip. Then he jumped to his feet. Fine, he said. I want you back here in this living room by 5 p.m. tomorrow, with a fresh shave and your supposedly real tux in hand. Then we'll get to work. With that, he turned on his heel and left the room. Phase 1. Success. Shouta managed the awkward hours before his patrol that night by keeping busy. He surreptitiously watched select instructional videos and reread key fix scenes. Under the guise of running to the convenience down the block, he went outside and made his phone calls, including one to Murray to confirm that her side of things was going as planned. His patrol was quiet. He even had time to get in some practice of his new skill. By the time he returned to their apartment in the dark hours of the morning, he was starting to feel pretty damn good about this plan. At 5 p.m. the next day, Shouta stood in the middle of the living room, freshly showered and shaven. Hazashi and Netsu were the only people in the world who could convince him to shave, albeit for very different reasons. He was wearing an undershirt and joggers for now. His tux, picked up that morning from the tailor, hung in a plastic bag in his room, safe from Mochi's omnipresent hair. Hazashi came out with a kitchen chair and placed it in the center of the room. He was wearing casual clothes too, though his hair was already done in some elegant, twisty style that Shouta had no name for. Unsurprisingly, it looked great. Sit, Hazashi said. I'll be back in a minute. Shouta knew this drill. He sat down and stretched out his legs. On the rare occasions that he could be convinced that his hairstyle actually mattered, Hazashi had always did the honors. It had been that way since high school. Though, to this day, neither of them dared speak of the pompadour incident. As much as Shouta felt that hair and clothes were a waste of time, the trouble was worth it if it meant that Hazashi was involved. Hazashi came back in with a hairdryer, comb, and brightly colored product bottles, all bundled in one arm. He held an open beer in his free hand. Shouta had never known Hazashi to drink during the day, but, well, maybe galas required a bit of pre-gaming? The blonde took a swig and set the bottle down on the side table. He stood behind Shouta. What are we thinking? Up? Down? He brushed Shota's bangs aside. Eraser's irritation with midnight for booking him at the overpriced salon vanished the instant he saw his new stylist. His only thought as he locked eyes with Mike in the mirror was, how do I ask this beautiful man out? How about the way you did it before? That half-bun thing. Sure can do. A little half-bun thingy. Hazashi was silent while he gently combed out the tangles. I guess that means tonight falls into the same category as press conferences and parent-teacher meetings, huh? Shouta turned in his seat to look up at him. Of course not. I just thought you liked it like that. Oh! Pink rose in Hazashi's cheeks. I do. It took Eraser several visits, because of course he went back, to realize that the appointments themselves were a most excellent opportunity to flirt. Shouta held his gaze another moment before he turned to face forward again. That's very thoughtful of you. Hazashi worked some product into his hair. Okay, this is gonna be loud for a minute. He finished drying Shota's hair. You really do have beautiful hair, Sho. Those effortless beachy waves are enough to make anyone jealous. Shouta snorted. Says the man with flowing golden mermaid hair. It seemed that parrot hadn't quite cleared Hazashi's throat. Maybe the mermaid comment was a bit much. He heard Hazashi take another swig of his beer. Sorry. Shouta said, on reflex. No, it's all good. I'm just not used to compliments from you. Right. That was something that Shouta needed to fix. I've always loved your hair. Always, eh? Hazashi started massaging in another product. This will just make it shinier. Your hair's so full and soft, there's not much else to do. His fingers traveled from temple to crown, nails lightly scratching Shota's scalp. That feels nice. Shouta leaned back into the touch. The fingers paused for a fraction of a second before repeating that path. Shouta let out a contented little hum escape. Hazashi continued, for far longer than seemed necessary. Shouta was not complaining. Eventually, he gathered the top half of Shouta's hair and pinned it back in a bun. Then, he stepped in front of Shouta to pull a few pieces free to frame his face. "All done," he murmured. Shouta looked up at him. "How do I look?" "I thought Nam was gonna show me up on the red carpet." He took Shota's hair behind his ear and didn't quite make eye contact. "I was worried about the wrong person." Turned out, even indirect praise from Azashi made Shouta feel all sorts of ways. But before he could think of anything suave to say in reply, Hazashi took a step back. "The car the station hired for us will be here in 15 minutes. We should hurry and get dressed." They had just finished dressing. "No, wait, there's still more mochi here on the other sleeve. Let me get that." When Hazashi got a text that the limo service had arrived, there was one more thing that Shouta needed to do before they left. It was a small action, but one that would sink any remaining plausible deniability over his intentions tonight. It certainly wasn't something he would normally do. "Zashi, before we go." Hazashi was giving his hair a last check in the mirror by the door. The bell chimed as Mike entered the flower shop. His gaze wandered over the arrangements, all pretty enough, until it stopped dead on the most beautiful man he had ever seen. Shouta had a hard time reconciling many of the debonair fictional Eraserheads with his own scruffy reality, but he knew that if this plan was ever gonna work, he had to get over himself. The man, he must be the florist, stood behind the counter. Lush red roses and twinkling fairy lights surrounded him. His lines made of black hair framed a face fit for marble, perfect bone structure, dusted with rugged stubble. Because whatever the hell was going on with the Eraserhead in these fics, it was working. The florist looked up at Mike, a single rose held in his hand. Shouta reached into his jacket. He spoke, voice like river water over a rough stone. "For you," Shouta said. He held out a rose. He was pleased to see that Hisashi was not done blushing for the day. "Shouta, it's beautiful. Thank you." The blonde tucked the flower into his hair. Nomuri had been right. That shade of deep red contrasted wonderfully with his green eyes. Shouta let his gaze linger before opening the door for Hisashi. Together, they walked down to the waiting car. Phase 2. Fucking success. I'm kind of a sucker for this and last chapter. It's just a romance. They're planning it out. It's just a romance, baby, and I love it. Oh my god, I'm so happy with this. Honestly, I love these last few chapters. I hope you will enjoy them too. And of course, thank you so much for listening to this podfic. I will see you when I do. Toodaloo!